This morning, strikes continue across the Middle East as the war ripples over the border. A potential cyclone brews off the coast of far north Queensland. A search for fugitive Desi Freeman sparks legal action. And a potential state funeral for legendary broadcaster Dennis Cometti. That's coming up on Sunrise.
Live across Australia, this is Sunrise Early News.
Good morning. There's been no reprieve in the Middle East as the war spills well beyond the region. 2 Iranian drones reportedly attacked an airport in Azerbaijan, while reports of explosions in Qatar and Bahrain have been issued overnight. Israel has issued an evacuation order for southern Beirut as troops and tankers continue to storm across the border into Lebanon. A US oil tanker is reportedly on fire, struck by Iran in the northern Gulf. European powers strengthening defence in the region, with the UK declaring 4 fighter jets will be deployed to Qatar. Spain now sending frigates to Cyprus. There are growing concerns this morning over Australia's involvement in the Middle East as the Prime Minister confirms military assets have been deployed to the region. Let's go live to Isabel Mullen in Canberra this morning. Morning to you, Izzy. Now, the opposition is demanding transparency from the Prime Minister.
They are, Sally. Good morning. We know that 2 Australian sailors were on board that US submarine that sank Iran's warship off the coast of Sri Lanka, with new reports this morning that they were there as part of the AUKUS training rotation. What the federal government won't confirm is whether 2 US military aircraft had been tracking that submarine before flying from Diego Garcia, that's south of Iran, into Perth's RAF base on Monday night. This as Israel calls for Australia to join the war.
So my message to Australia is to wake up. I would expect Australia, with its long history of defending humanity and freedom throughout many wars throughout our history, I would expect them to actually join forces as well.
The official line from the federal government is that it doesn't confirm or deny operational matters. This as Anthony Albanese confirms that 2 military aircraft have been flown into the region if needed for repatriation. Sally.
All right, thank you very much. Isabel Mullen there in Canberra. With Australian fuel prices creeping up to almost $4 a litre, panic is setting in across the globe. People racing to stockpile on petrol before it's too late. A boot packed with petrol reserves in the back of a car in the UK, while a Moldovan man has gone to great lengths to ensure he has enough fuel to last. In cities across India, long queues and wait times at stations that no container proving big enough. People are being warned, though, against stockpiling thousands of litres at home, with risks the practice could spark a fire and even be illegal. The son of a Victorian police officer is taking the force to court, suing over his alleged treatment during the Desi Freeman search. 32-year-old Jeremy Sloan and his partner were arrested at gunpoint by police and held for a number of hours while police searched his parents' property. Mr. Sloan's mother is a police officer, with the lawsuit filed in a bid to prevent similar treatment to other members of the public. Mr. Sloan is seeking compensation for psychological harm he says he suffered during the incident. Accused high country killer Greg Lynn has had his bid for freedom rejected in the Supreme Court. Lynn wanted to live at home with his son while he awaits a retrial for murder, but the court heard the former pilot is a flight risk.
A blow in the high-stakes case against Greg Lynn, his son Geordie Lynn fronting up hand in hand with his stepmother. He wanted his dad to live at home with him while he awaited a retrial. Lynn's accused of killing elderly camper Carol Clay in 2020.
How are you feeling, Geordie? This must be really stressful for you.
The prosecution argued against Lynn's release. Boiling it down to its bare bones, Mrs. Clay was shot in the head, the projectile from the accused's gun. Police believe the former pilot is a flight risk, but Dermot Dan Casey argued his client should be released on strict conditions, and the media coverage of the case meant the retrial wouldn't be fair. Justice Beach said Lynn would get a fair trial with a properly instructed jury, but did say the applicant has been the subject of an extraordinary amount of damaging publicity publicity in which allegations of the most serious kind have been made against him. Because of that, Greg Lynn's defence team had argued he shouldn't face a retrial for another 2 years. But Justice Beach said today the accused high country killer could be back before a jury by as early as August. He rejected arguments Lynn had exceptional circumstances, sending the 59-year-old back on remand.
Are you disappointed with the decision today?
Laura Turner, 7 News.
Meanwhile, far north Queenslanders are on high alert this morning with a tropical low and a severe weather forecast set to bring heavy rains and potential flash flooding from the Cape to Wide Bay. A major flood warning's been issued for the Daintree and Mossman rivers. The low is expected to cross between Cardwell and Cairns today, with the Weather Bureau saying it's unlikely to become a cyclone. WA Premier Roger Cook will meet with the family of late sports broadcasting legend Dennis Cometti to discuss honouring his life with a state funeral. The beloved member of our Seven family died after a battle with Alzheimer's disease. The proposal for a state funeral has received broad public support. However, the decision ultimately rests with Mr Cometti's family. Opposition leader Basil Zempler said it wouldn't surprise him if they opted for a private service. Time to check Friday's weather now. Brisbane showers easing 29, Sydney a possible shower developing 29 as well. Canberra partly cloudy 30, Melbourne partly cloudy 24. Hobart partly cloudy today 23 degrees, Adelaide sunny and 27, Perth sunny 36, Darwin rain 29 degrees. Still to come on Sunrise Early News, Trump demands to have his say in electing Iran's new leader. And Princess Catherine dazzled by dance for a Hindu festival. That's next on Sunrise. The US president says he needs to be personally involved in selecting Iran's next leader. Let's go live to Rob Scott, who's in Washington, D.C. this morning. Good morning to you, Rob. Now, Donald Trump has likened the selection process to Venezuela.
Yeah, he has. Good morning, Sally. We know that a couple of months ago he ordered the removal of President Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, and he had a big hand in selecting Delcy Rodriguez as his successor. And he says he needs to have the same level of involvement in choosing the next leader of Iran. He acknowledges that the now deceased Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's son is one of the leading contenders, but he says he is a lightweight and his ascension to that leadership role would be unacceptable to the United States because it would drag the US back to war in just 5 years' time. So he wants to be personally involved in selecting the new leader of that country. This, as Democratic lawmakers attempted to curb Donald Trump's war powers with the vote in the Senate yesterday. They wanted to force him to come to Congress to get approval to continue his war in Iran. That ultimately failed, as I say, with Republicans lining up behind him, behind the president. And just to give you a demonstration of how unpopular this war is among some sections of the community here in America, a Marine Corps veteran was protesting yesterday at a Senate hearing here in the Capitol against the war. Take a listen. It got pretty violent.
Yeas are 47. Out! No one wants to fight for Israel!
His hand! Oh! His hand!
The senator broke his hand!
So it appears as though that individual's arm was broken when it got stuck in a doorway as he was bundled out of that hearing. Just an example of how unpopular this war is becoming here in America. Sally?
Yeah, dramatic scenes indeed. All right, thanks for that. Rob Scott there. Well, shocking CCTV footage has been released of a remarkable near miss when a man attempted to step out of a rogue elevator. The man, who is a resident of a housing complex in India, attempted to exit the lift on the ground floor when it malfunctioned, suddenly taking off with its doors still open. He narrowly avoided being trapped, sustaining only a minor head injury. Technicians inspecting the lift found a fault which allowed the lift to move, even with the doors open. Well, this group didn't fall into a ring of fire but charged right towards it. Hundreds of locals have joined in on a Chinese ritual called Crossing the Fire Mountain to mark the end of the Lunar New Year. Participants in the heated lantern festival ceremony run through pillars of fire, symbolically referred to as volcanoes. The ceremony is thought to scare away evil spirits and bring good luck for the coming year. Princess Kate's continuing to win hearts, celebrating the heritage of the British Indian community, marking a Hindu spring festival. The Princess of Wales visited an Indian dance company, receiving a rose and pearl garland necklace before witnessing a candlelit performance. The royal mother of three then took in local businesses in the Golden Mile, which is the South Asian district. Australia's new hate group laws have seen a radical Islamic organisation banned. Members of the Hits Tahrir are now being threatened with up to 15 years jail if they continue to be involved. It's now a criminal offence to be a member or provide training to fund the organisation. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke saying it sends a strong message to other radical groups. Chants often heard at pro-Palestine rallies have been outlawed in Queensland after controversial hate speech laws passed Parliament. Labor MPs say they were denied enough time to see last-minute changes and voted against the legislation.
Rushing through landmark laws.
It is, Marlena, and we've done a lot of work on it. Why the change in stance?
Introducing tougher penalties for illegal guns, attacks on places of worship and prohibiting Nazi and terrorist symbols.
Responding to bloodshed in Bondi.
For the first time, some speech is now a criminal offence targeting pro-Palestine protests. Saying or displaying "globalise the Intifada and from the river to the sea" carries a maximum penalty of 2 years in prison.
17 days for this bill, less than 24 hours for the amendments.
11th hour changes strip the Attorney-General of power to outlaw any more slogans following 2 weeks of backlash.
The Premier caved.
The government botched this up from the start.
In a surprise move, Labor voted against the bill.
30 noes.
We believe in freedom of speech.
In extraordinary scenes in Queensland Parliament, the Labor Party just voted for terrorists. The Labor Party just voted against enforcing, strengthening against anti-Semitic laws in the state.
Marlena Wapp, 7 News.
Still to come on Sunrise Early News, the parents of a little girl killed on Japan's ski slopes speak out. And the proof sunscreen campaigns are working. That's next. The search will continue today for the swimmer who went missing from a Sunshine Coast beach on Wednesday afternoon. The 18-year-old surf lifesaver went for a swim alone before a planned training session near Warana and hasn't been seen since.
When it's one of our own, it hits home very hard. So our efforts are focusing on the search efforts right now.
Yesterday's rough surf hampered efforts, the operation involving pole air, jet skis, surf rescue and the public. The parents of a young Gold Coast schoolgirl killed in a Japanese skiing accident have broken their silence. 8-year-old Chloe tragically died when a snowmobile she was in flipped during a tour near Hakaba Village Resort. Daniel and Fairleigh Jeffries said in a statement they are focusing on bringing their daughter's body home so they can mourn in private. Chloe is the 4th Australian to die in Japanese ski incidents in the last 7 weeks. A manhunt, meanwhile, is underway for a driver who evaded police after a pursuit across Sydney's lower North Shore overnight. Police attempted to stop a vehicle in Longueville as they identified as stolen. When the driver sped off, a pursuit was initiated. However, it was terminated a short time later. The vehicle crashed in Lane Cove and rolled onto its roof. The driver fled the scene. Police are hunting for the car thief. Young Queenslanders would have to pay $77 for a learner licence if they want to ride an e-bike. Hire giants are already considering fighting back. They're concerned it'll impact tourism and food delivery.
28 recommendations for long-awaited reforms, summed up in a few words.
Spot on. A step in the right direction.
12 people died from e-scooter or e-bike related crashes last year. A parliamentary inquiry set out to find a safer way forward. One of its suggestions, banning riders under the age of 16.
I could agree with that because
Some e-scooters can go really fast, almost as fast as Vespers.
Not anymore. If adopted, anything that goes above 25 kilometres an hour would be considered a motorbike. So why the need for the age limit?
We feel that legally compliant e-bikes are safe and are safe in the hands of younger riders.
All riders would also need at least a learner licence, which costs $77.
It's probably going to really harm DoorDash, Uber Eats and Domino's, those delivery companies who rely on international students.
And the devices tourists hire. Bicycle Queensland is looking to join forces with hire scheme providers like Lime and Neuron to push back against the recommendation for a licence. The RACQ's suggestions for seats to be added to hire scooters and full-face helmets weren't included. The government yet to commit to the reforms. If they do, thousands of Christmas gifts to young children will have to be parked with no mention of compensation.
The key message to parents, if you're thinking about buying anything today, be cautious and don't do it.
Jade Richards, 7 News.
A snorkeler's been attacked by a shark off one of Queensland's most popular islands. 3 friends have been diving off a boat near Lady Elliot Island when one was bitten near the elbow. He was airlifted to hospital for treatment to his stomach and hand and is in a stable condition. The type of shark's yet to be identified. Snorkeling has been temporarily banned from the island, which is usually considered safe and loved by people. It was an anthem of the 80s telling us to slip, slop, slap, and now there's proof it's worked. Queensland researchers have found young Australians have half as many moles and are 4 times less likely to get skin cancer than their parents or grandparents.
When it comes to being sun smart, the year you were born,
2002,
reveals a lot about your risk.
We do put sunscreen on
a lot. Definitely always putting on sunscreen.
Because before 2000,
1996,
1995,
times were different.
Tanning oil, no sunscreen, no hat.
I think I own sunscreen.
A sunburn country, but a lucky one too, because we now know these 3 words have slashed rates of skin cancer.
We think this is a real triumph for public health advocacy.
Researchers at QIMR studied almost 4,000 Queensland children over 25 years.
There's this very interesting trend in the mole counts. The numbers are just about halved.
What changed was behaviour.
The most likely explanation has been the effectiveness of the sun protection campaign.
It means for people born after the year 2000, their risk of melanoma drops by about 75% compared to those of us born in the 80s.
Courtney Mangan was, and at 29, this mole changed her life.
My entire 30s has been about cancer.
She's now 5 years cancer-free.
I had this horrible thing happen to me. I turned my lemons into skin checks.
A generational change and a gift to our children.
I paint her white with sunscreen.
For a brighter future. Amanda Abate, 7 News.
Still to come on Sunrise Early News, Swans recruit Charlie Curnow crushes his old team in the AFL season opener. The Storm exact revenge with a thumping win over the Parramatta Eels in Melbourne. And we'll have a closer look at how the weather's shaping up in your part of the country. Sport now, and the Charlie Curnow era at the Swans is off to a winning start in the AFL. Sydney got off to a shaky start to begin opening round at the SCG, trailing Carlton by 22 points just after halftime. The Bloods powered back with 12 goals in the third quarter alone. Curnow kicked 3 against his former side to seal a 132-69 victory.
Such a hard one, come from another club and means a lot to me, all those boys over there, and you just got to kind of dive into it. There's only one way forward.
Blues recruit Ollie Florent could be in hot water for this knee to the head on Isaac Heaney. After losing the court battle for Zach Lomas, the Storm tormented the Eels at Amy Park to open their NRL season. Parramatta prop Jermaine Hopgood was sin-binned and placed on report inside the first minute for this hit on Alex McDonald. Melbourne skipper Harry Grant starred with a double before leaving the field with cramps. The Storm cruised to a 52-4 win.
They thought he broke his leg, but so we got him off, but it was only a cramp, so we were very lucky there.
Suafar Longo stepped up in place of retired fullback Ryan Pappenhausen, scoring 2 tries. Oscar Piastri is playing down expectations ahead of this weekend's season-opening Grand Prix at Albert Park in Melbourne. Eyeing his first home race win, Piastri and the rest of the F1 grid will take to the track for practice this afternoon. The McLaren star wary of his rivals ahead of round one.
I think we're somewhere towards the front, but I think from testing it kind of feels like Mercedes and Ferrari got a little bit on us and Red Bull.
In the supercars, Bowrey won from pole ahead of Matt Payne and Brock Feeney. Taking a look at weather around the country now. On the satellite, an active monsoon and lows across the tropics will bring intense storms over Queensland's north coast. Some showers and storms will also push into eastern Queensland and eastern parts of New South Wales, while a front's bringing gusty showers to Tasmania. Heatwave conditions are expected to extend over WA's west. Around the capital cities, Brisbane showers easing 29, a possible shower developing in Sydney 29 there too, Canberra partly cloudy 30, Melbourne partly cloudy 25 degrees, Hobart partly cloudy and 23, Adelaide sunny 27 degrees, Perth sunny and 36, Darwin rain 29. And that's Sunrise Early News.